5 years ago today, the county's first COVID-19 patient was being treated in isolation by Scripps Health at one of their hospitals. To reflect back, I spoke with an expert about how far we've come over the years and where we go from here.
I can't believe it's been 5 years. It honestly feels like just like yesterday.
After a San Diego woman in her 50s became the first local patient to test positive for COVID-19, it sent a ripple effect, forcing our frontline healthcare workers to adapt.
We had to quarantine physicians for 2 weeks. There were about 50 people that interacted with that patient that we had to take out of commission to stay home.
Dr. Ghazala Sharif is Chief Medical and Operations Officer for Acute Care at Scripps. She says the initial wave of the pandemic sparked a lot of fear.
Such an unknown and such a deadly disease. We all watched with sheer horror about what was going on in New York. And we did not want to be in that situation where people are getting carried out in body bags and being stacked, in those trucks.
With stay-at-home orders in place and businesses shutting down, we even saw local parks and beaches closed at one point, something Dr. Sharif now thinks was unnecessary.
I'll just tell on myself, I thought it was dumb, so I went down to my park and I got busted by a police officer. there was nobody in the park.
Then we learned more about the respiratory virus and how it's transmitted airborne through close contact. She says we've seen over time that the biggest peaks come during Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's.
This year, COVID decided not to hospitalize patients, and then we got flu instead. So there's always going to be something that peaks around those times.
As COVID patients overwhelmed San Diego hospitals, Scripps Chula Vista was hit particularly hard. Dr. Sharif says they've since learned how to load balance to prevent any one hospital from being overburdened. It's true, we've learned a lot from the pandemic, but she says there's some things we could still do better.
If you're sick, stay home, right? There's this fear of missing out on something. Well, then you're just infecting other people. So we quite haven't learned that lesson yet.
Brian White, CBS 8.